Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you're watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I have a ton of huge news to share with all of you today. So, we're going to start off talking about a major drone swarm attack going into Russia last night, also in Crimea. We had two military airfields that were targeted in Crimea last night. The Russian Saki and Kasha military airfields being attacked by multiple drones. Don't have any confirmed strikes as of yet, but we're waiting for more information to come out from that area. But we'll show you that here in just a little bit where they're located at. Also, the major oil seaport of Tuapse, as you can see here on your screen, this is a picture coming out from that area also. This is in the Krasnodar Krai region of Russia, very close to the Black Sea. And Russia's Tuapse seaport attacked by Ukrainian drone swarm Wednesday, as you can see here on your screen. Ukrainian drones attacked a major seaport in southern Russia, as well as Rosneft's PJSC's Tuapse oil refinery, potentially affecting fuel exports. Explosions and fire reported in the area. Yeah, we were hearing upwards of maybe 40 explosions being reported in the area of this oil refinery that's located in Tuapse. And this is a very significant port being attacked. It has been attacked previously in the past. I think it could have been upwards of almost a year now since we last reported major attacks on the Tuapse oil refinery. But nonetheless, major explosions reported over here. Reports of a pipeline and a processing unit, oil processing unit, that was damaged at this facility. So we'll see if it happens to go offline, as there was a lot of explosions in the area. And this was a picture that one of the residents in the area of Tuapse caught. Major explosion at the port over there. Okay, so I'm sure the port itself was being targeted also, but primarily, as far as I know, the refinery being hit and attacked last night. Okay, so also lots of reports of Russian drones going into Ukraine last night, the Kyiv region. Lots of explosions on homes over there, residential buildings being destroyed, some people losing their lives, unfortunately, last night as well. And then tons of other updates. We have some information coming out from the Donetsk region as well. Ukrainians have made some advancements over there, as clearly they're launching some counterattacks, as we have been reporting over the last week. So let's go ahead and hop into this, guys. Lots of information to go over. We're going to start off here with Bliskovka on X. Ukraine struck at Saki and Kasha military airfields in Crimea, as well as a Tuapse oil refinery, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported. The Tuapse refinery processes 12 million tons of oil per year. More than 90% of it is exported. The refinery also actively supplies the Russian army. The exact consequences of the strikes are still being clarified. Okay, so yeah, so we're still waiting on more information coming out regarding these strikes, but for sure we know that there was damage to that pipeline and processing unit at the Tuapse oil refinery, but still waiting for confirmation on the attacks in Crimea on these two military airfields. This was a report coming out today from Ukraine's general staff, okay? So let's jump on over to a map now, and we'll show you guys exactly where these attacks took place at. So this is going to be inside of Russian territory, also in Crimea. So here's Moscow up here. So we're going to be down here in the Black Sea talking about these areas. So we'll start off with the port city of Tuapse, which is located right on the edge of the Black Sea right here. Okay, so we'll zoom into Tuapse. And right in here, we have a major oil seaport. So here's the ports right here. And then we have the Rosneft oil refinery right here, okay? And it's been probably close to about a year now since we last reported this oil refinery being attacked. But I do remember reporting low-flying drones over here that were striking this facility in the past. But it is online as far as we know right now. And they do produce a lot of oil out of this refinery, and a lot of it gets shipped from this port, okay? So you can see why Ukraine would attack this. So yeah, I believe about 40 explosions in this area. And I think we even had a few homes being destroyed around this oil refinery also, okay? So maybe damage to this port. We'll see what happens here over the next 24 hours. So now we're going to go on over to Crimea over here, just a little bit to the west. And just south of Yevpatoria, which is a major city in Crimea, we have the city of Saki. Just a little bit south of that, we have the Saki airfield, okay? So this airfield supposedly being targeted last night also, and potentially upwards of 100 drones attacking just this area alone. So you can see this is a pretty massive airfield. Russia stores a lot of their warplanes here they use to attack southern Ukraine. They store them all along here Probably even some munitions being stored over here as well. And then just to the south of that, closer to Sevastopol, okay, we have Kacha. Okay, Kacha is going to be right here. Okay, so here's the city of Kacha and the Kacha military airfields right here. Okay, so reportedly, both of these airfields coming under attack last night by Ukrainian drones. Okay, so there it is. There's Kacha right there, not too far away from Sevastopol, excuse me, which would be located here, and then also the Saki airfield right here, located not too far away from Yevpatory. Okay, so it's pretty frequently that we report attacks on these military airfields. And I'm not sure if naval drones were being used last night, but we know for sure that aerial attack drones were attacking primarily the southwestern side of Crimea and also the city of Tuapse. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into X again, and we've got some more updates for you over here. This one's from Max24 update. He has a bunch of eagle emotes, which is supposed to be drones, right? So here's a picture coming out from Drone Bomber on Telegram showing us the direction of these drones that were incoming to Russia last night and also Crimea. You can see a lot of them targeting down here where these airfields were located at. Many of these other drones heading down in the direction of the Krasnodar Krai portion of Russia. Okay, so as far as I know, these were the two major areas that were attacked last night was Krasnodar Krai and Crimea. Okay, now moving on to St. Javelin. Last night, a large-scale drone attack targeted Russia's Krasnodar Krai as part of an effort to enforce peace. Key sites, including the commercial port in Tuapse and various facilities in the city, were struck. Russia's Ministry of Defense claimed to have intercepted 128 drones across the country, marking this as the most significant attack on the region since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. Footage from the scene likely captures the detonation of ammunition at the seaport. Yeah, so allegedly, we'll go back here a little bit. There were some explosions, as you can see here. Looks like maybe a missile or something flew up into the skies, and possibly indicating that maybe some sort of ammunition storage depot was hit down here also. And maybe that's what we're seeing is some sort of missile flying up in the sky and exploding. Not really sure what that could be, but you guys can let me know what you think that is down below in the comment section. But that was a video coming out. Unfortunately, no sound in that video. So we'll jump into another one here from Astra. Pipeline and refining unit damage. Seaport targeted in Russia's Tuapse after overnight drone attack. And it says Astra geolocates video. According to Astra sources, drones targeted the Tuapse oil refinery on the night of February 26. Two drones crashed on the facility's grounds, damaging parts of the ELOU VT-12 refining unit and a crude oil pipeline. Oil spilled across an area of 5 square meters. In addition, Astra geolocated one of the videos with the drone strikes in Tuapse that night. Footage shows fireworks, secondary detonation, typical for an ammunition explosive storage site. The camera angle is directed towards the seaport. Astra determined that the house on the right in the video is located at 12 Kalinina Street, approximately 370 meters from the seaport. Earlier, local residents reported an attack on the Tuapse seaport. Ukrainian official sources now also claim a strike on the port. Since the start of the year, Ukrainian forces have attacked at least 28 fuel and energy facilities across 16 regions of Russia. Some, including the Ryazan refinery, have been hit multiple times. All right, so Astra shared a few videos for you guys, and we'll start off with this first one here. I will let you know, though, in the beginning, this first video is very quiet, and then all of a sudden, a massive explosion goes off, and it's a little bit loud, so just go ahead and get your ears ready for this one, okay? We'll start off with this video here. All right, so the video starts off very quietly, and then all of a sudden you can hear that drone coming in, and then it looks like it crashes on the other side of this, what looks to like a residential building or something here. So it explodes right over here just on the other side. You can see that the sky getting lit up there, okay? So a massive hit over here. Not sure what happened there, but looks like maybe we had a drone crashing on a residential home, which we do have photos of that. Here's that video that we just watched earlier, so we're not going to watch that again, of what could be some sort of secondary detonation of an ammunition depot. And this shows like a satellite image of this area that was attacked last night. This looks like that two-story building that we were just looking at, and we had an explosion either on this side or maybe the other side of that building right there. Okay, so we'll jump into another update from Astra again. Ukrainian drones attack Krasnodar region overnight. According to local residents, a commercial seaport in Tuapse was hit. A residential building in the city was damaged. Russia's defense ministry reported that 128 Ukrainian drones were destroyed and intercepted on the night of February 26, including 83 in the Krasnodar region. Okay, so you can see 128 destroyed, intercepted just on the night of February 26th. So that was a lot of drones just being destroyed. So imagine the ones that were not destroyed. That's why I was thinking maybe upwards of 200 or more just targeting Crimea and Krasnodar alone. Okay, so we got a video here. Not a whole lot of sound in this video, but we can see what looks like maybe a Panzer S-1 air defense interceptor going up into the skies to try to bring down an incoming drone. We've seen a lot of that coming out, mainly up in the northern side. We know that Russia has a lot of Panzer S-1 systems, also located in cities like in the Tula region of Russia, very close to Moscow. We've seen video footage just like that. So probably a Panzer S-1. Here's another video also, and this is going to show what looks like something falling out of the skies over here. I'm not sure if maybe that's a drone being shot down, or maybe that's more detonations from that ammunition depot that was being stored. Is what looks like very close to the seaport. We can see the ocean here. Okay, so something was exploding and falling out of the skies over here. We've got another picture of somebody's home that was damaged also in Tuapse. You can see their car was destroyed. So one of these Ukrainian drones definitely crashed into somebody's house last night, completely demolishing it. Okay. All right, now from Gokruks 1, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, port in Tuapse. Okay, so we got pictures here coming out. Also, we had this one on the waiting screen for you when you came in, showing a direct strike on the seaports over here. We can see an explosion also. That could potentially also be at the oil refinery. Okay, and then here's that picture coming out from that video that we actually saw of that something falling out of the skies over here, but clearly something was attacked over in the distance also. All right, now from Max 24, the moment Russian drone strike on residential building in the Kyiv region. Okay, so now these are attacks that were taking place inside of Ukraine last night, as Russia also launched a major attack on Ukraine. I think it was close to 200 Russian drones entering into Ukraine last night. Take a look at this. All right, horrible sight to see here as another high-rise residential building taking a direct hit from a Russian drone. Okay, and this has happened so many times that we've reported inside of Ukraine and just been hammered by these drones from Russia. Okay, now also from Max 24, Shahid hit a residential building in Kyiv. Okay, so here's another video coming out from that area. I'm not sure if it was the same residential building that was hit here in the video. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's possible that it could be that same building. But we can see a fire broke out soon after another attack here in Kyiv. Okay. All right, now moving on to Max 24, two-story house in Kyiv region hit by a Russian drone, completely burned down, according to OVA, which is like their regional administration. 19-year-old girl was also injured in the attack. She was hospitalized with a head wound to a local hospital. Okay, so unfortunately, we had a young girl, 19 years old, being injured in this attack last night as somebody's home was directly struck by a Russian drone. So not only were the Russian citizens being attacked by these drones, but also Ukrainian citizens as well, as it looks like both sides launched a major attack on each other last night. Now for Max 24, yesterday, a well-known oncologist, Pavlo Ivanchev, and his wife, journalist Tatiana Kulik, burned alive near Kyiv. Neighbors tried to save the couple after a Russian UAV strike, but the fire quickly spread. Okay, so very unfortunate situation here too. We had two more citizens inside of Ukraine that lost their lives last night as they unfortunately burned alive inside of their homes after a drone attacked the buildings that they were in. Okay, so very sad to see that today. Now for Max 24, 5 people killed and 8 wounded as a result of strikes on Kostiantynivka, head of the Donetsk OVA. Russian terrorists dropped at least 3 guided aerial bombs on the city and its environs. So Here's another attack again on Kostiantynivka. This is at least 5 or 6 attacks just over the last week or week and a half that we've reported. Now, this is in the Donetsk region again, very close to the front line, so that's probably why Russia's bombing this place so much. But just lots of innocent people losing their lives over here, being injured, their homes being destroyed. I mean, you can clearly see this was a residential area that was targeted, and looks like maybe even a home might have been right here and completely was destroyed. You can see the crater from one of these bombs being dropped. So very sad, guys. All right, now moving on to Max 24. For the first time since 2022 to 2023, the armed forces of Ukraine launched a counterattack in the Turetsk area and near Pokrovsk. Lieutenant of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Alex, reported. General Staff did not officially comment on this, okay? So we do know that down here near Pokrovsk, this is going to be in the Donetsk region, by the way, that Ukraine has launched a counteroffensive, okay? And Touretsk, we've been kind of hearing a little bit about that, but not too much information. But I do have more updates today. So we're going to talk about these two key areas inside the Donetsk region. So here's from the Pokrovsk direction, okay? So from Ukraine front line, paratroopers of the 25th Separate Infantry Brigade knocked out the Russians and took control of the village of Kotline, I think is how you say it. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, near Pokrovsk. The brigade said that capturing the village would allow the occupiers to access the Pokrovsk-Dnipro highway. This could significantly worsen the logistical support of the entire Pokrovsk direction. Okay, so we did report here recently over the last week, Ukrainian armed forces did launch a counteroffensive down here just southwest of Pokrovsk. This is a major transport and rail hub city for Ukraine in the Donetsk region, and the Ukrainians are desperately trying to hold on to this city right now. So we heard recently that they launched these two attacks, but apparently up here in Kotline, if I'm saying that right, looks like the Ukrainians have taken control of that city, and they've basically halted the Russian advance trying to move up to this highway over here and cut this off, because if you were to follow this highway off to the west, it would pretty much lead over to like the Dnipropetrovsk region, and this is where a lot of critical equipment for the the Ukrainian military comes in to fuel supplies for the troops over here in Pokrovsk. Okay, so that's big news. Looks like the Russians were halted in terms of their advance, trying to circle around behind Pokrovsk. Okay, now from Vishnya Ostap, the fifth day of the Ukrainian advance in Turetsk. Okay, so we reported recently also in Turetsk that the Ukrainians were launching some sort of offensive over here, and it looks like they have busted right through the center of the city. And it's been very back and forth here in Turetsk for a very long time. One time Ukraine got close to pushing the Russians out of the city, then the Russians moved back in, almost took it over. So it's been a very back and forth conflict over here in the city of Turetsk, and there's been heavy fighting going on here for well over like a year now. And looks like Ukraine is still somewhat holding on to the city right now. Okay, they've got a decent foothold here, and now also bursting right through the center of the city. All right, now for Max 24, this agreement can be a great success or pass quietly. A great success depends on the conversation with Trump, says Zelensky. I really wanted at least the sentence, guarantees of Ukraine's security, to appear in the framework agreement, and the fact that I was briefed by government officials. It appears in point 10. It is important that it is there. I will read it, and the government officials will offer the ministers to sign the agreement. Okay, so he's actually talking about the minerals deal here, and this was a statement coming out from him just today. And yeah, so Zelensky once again reaffirming that he wants security guarantees in order to sign this deal, this up to 500 billion worth of minerals that could be transferred to the U.S. And it looks like they are going to sign some sort of agreement, possibly by Friday. But today I did see some reports that Zelensky did not confirm he's going to be traveling to Washington, as we heard that I think yesterday, the day before, that he was going to be going to Washington to sign this agreement. So we don't really know yet when he's going, but potentially by Friday to sign this agreement. But he wants to make sure that Ukraine gets security guarantees before signing it. Now from Max 24 again, the agreement with the U.S. on minerals is called Agreement on Establishing the Rules and Conditions of the Investment Fund for the Reconstruction of Ukraine, says Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal, who is out of Ukraine. This is the future creation of an investment fund for the reconstruction of Ukraine, where Ukraine and the U.S. will manage this fund on an equal footing, fill it. This agreement is directly tied to security guarantees. Neither the president of Ukraine nor the government of Ukraine will consider this agreement and signing in isolation from Ukraine's security guarantees. Okay, so you can see here, even from Prime Minister Smile, him coming out and reaffirming or reiterating the same claim, stating that they want security guarantees in order to sign this from the U.S. And, this is kind of what they call it, the agreement on establishing the rules and conditions of the investment fund for the reconstruction of Ukraine. Okay, it has nothing to do with repayment. That's something big they're coming out saying today, too, that, Zelensky was stating that Ukraine is not a debtor nation. They don't owe any debts to anybody, or especially the United States, that this is primarily only for security guarantees for Ukraine and cooperation with the United States. It has nothing to do with debt, okay, or debts that need to be repaid. Now, from Jurgen Nodit, the U.S. is no longer a reliable partner, says CDU leader Friedrich Merz. Okay, so this is soon to be the new chancellor in Germany, and he came out saying this today. So Europe must therefore immediately strengthen its defense capabilities and prepare for a possible replacement for NATO, he said. Merz also proposed expanding nuclear cooperation between Germany, France, and Britain to replace the U.S. nuclear umbrella, Political reports. Yeah, so I mean, right now, Europe is really preparing to be on their own without the U.S. and we're hearing that Germany might actually boost their defense spending, and they might spend up to like 200 billion just this year or maybe next year, I think, on defense spending just to boost their military alone. So they're getting ready for a potential war with Russia and also to protect themselves. We're going to see lots of defense spending boosting inside of Europe right now, while at the same time the U.S., Russia, maybe even China down the road, who knows, we'll see, might start to lower their defense spending. I think China came out saying yesterday they were not going to agree to that, but maybe that could change in the near term. We'll see what happens. But yeah, also a big one here talking about NATO. Could the Europe pull out of NATO at some point, or maybe start to form their own NATO alliance or some other form of that, just to protect their own nations? We'll see what happens here, as we keep hearing that maybe the U.S. might not come and back Europe if they come under attack, even if they're a NATO member. So lots of huge reports coming out today from that. Now from Igor Sushko, Russia administrations in Moscow and the surrounding region held urgent meetings with the feds discussing plans on the use of bomb shelters from airstrikes. Large Ukrainian drone operation may be on the horizon. Yeah, or maybe even like a missile attack. Who knows? I mean, we know that Ukraine is working on lots of different missiles right now. They already have upgraded extended range Neptune missiles they could be using to attack inside Russia also. They're working on ballistic missiles as far as we know. So I don't know. Maybe this year is Ukraine going to be ready to start using some of these. Let's say, assuming that this war is actually going to continue on through the rest of the year, we might start seeing lots of crazy weaponry coming out from Ukraine, as they've had some time to develop lots of new weapons, even the Trumpeta missile. We talked about that recently. Now from Bliskovka, Ukraine is preparing tenders for reconstruction with the participation of Turkey, says Turkey newspaper. Kyiv plans to hold tenders in April to May for post-war reconstruction, including the renovation of customs checkpoints, construction of toll roads, energy projects, and water supply. Turkey has already received the relevant documents. Okay, so this was a report today coming out from Turkey newspaper. So it looks like they're going to be preparing for reconstruction and participation by Turkey inside of Ukraine, as we know this war could potentially be coming to an end soon, and if it does, looks like Turkey wants to get involved with helping Ukraine with their reconstruction efforts, okay, to rebuild their nation, as a lot of it has been destroyed, okay? Now for military news UA, all 100% of drones flying to Russia are Ukrainian-made drones, says Commander of the Unmanned System Forces, Sukharevsky. Okay, so this is very big news. I mean, I think it was just 80% or 90%, what was it, just a week or two ago, they were reported that many of the drones going into Russia were Ukrainian made. Now they're saying that it's 100%. So isn't that insane, guys? I mean, Ukraine is moving so fast in terms of drone warfare. They are just boosting up like crazy, producing all kinds of different drones. That's why we're seeing almost nightly drone attacks inside of Russia, and many times upwards of 200 or more being fired onto Russia, just like we had last night. So we're going to be seeing lots of drone attacks onto Russia pretty much every night, okay, for the duration of this war continue on down the road. Now from Special Kherson Cat, and now we are starting to shoot down Shahed kamikaze drones with FPV drones. This is already giving real results, as commander of the Unmanned System Forces of Ukraine. So also Sukarevsky coming out and saying that they're shooting down drones now with FPV drones, and we have seen some video coming out like that in the past. I think I've shown you guys before, where FPV drones, some of them are fast enough to keep up with some of these Shahed drones coming into Ukraine. I mean, these Shahed drones are not super fast flying, so maybe some of these FPV drones can keep up and take them down. So that's a great way and a cheap way also of shooting down these Shahed drones versus using air defense interceptors, right? So that's very big news for Ukraine as well. Now, from Euromaidan Press, Russians lost 50% of 120 millimeter mortar shell reserves after the strike on Tuapse arsenal last fall. Okay, I think this was back in September. Ukraine struck the 107th GRAU ammo depot in Russia's Tuapse last September. SBU says the attack destroyed 160,000 tons of ammunition. Okay, so you guys probably remember this report if you've been around long enough. I did cover this back in September. This was an absolutely massive fireball over here, and I think it even created some earthquakes or something resembling earthquakes or aftershocks over here after this thing exploded. So lots of ammunition was destroyed that day. And Euromaidan Press is coming out reporting today that 50% of the 120 millimeter mortar shell reserves were destroyed in the Tuapse ammunition depot. Okay, and I believe this was in the Tula region of Russia. Okay, so pretty crazy news there. So a couple more things to share with you before we get you out of here. From Bliskovka, Air Defense Forces of Ukraine destroyed 110 out of 177 Russian UAVs. 66 Russian imitator UAVs were lost locally without negative consequence. Okay, so 177 Russian UAVs, very close to 200 entering into Ukraine last night. That's why we had some attacks inside of Kyiv. So still every single day now for about close to 2 weeks, we've been seeing over 150 drones being fired by the Russians. So they are definitely hammering Ukraine very hard right now with drones every single night. As just not too long ago, maybe a month or 2 months back, especially in January, we were hearing sometimes 50 or less drones entering into Ukraine. So looks like Russia got a major stockpile of drones all of a sudden and are starting to attack Ukraine nightly with upwards of almost 200. Now, from the Kyiv Independent, these are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of February 26, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. All right, guys, so our final update of the day, Russia's losses as of February 26. 1,170 troops, 15 AFVs, 120 vehicles and fuel tanks, 19 tanks, 34 artillery systems, 194 UAVs, and it looks like 2 anti-aircraft warfare systems also being destroyed. I'm not sure exactly what types were hit, but it looks like, according to Ukrainian intelligence, they destroyed 2 more anti-air warfare systems. Okay, so 19 tanks, quite a bit of tanks being destroyed, almost 20 today. And we've been seeing right around 15, so a little bit higher than normal, and 120 vehicles and fuel tanks. So still, in terms of troop losses, a little bit lower than normal. Usually you see close to like 1,300, and lately it's been no more than like 1,000 to 1,300. It's definitely been a lot lower in terms of troop losses, and again, possibly indicating that Russia can't launch as many attacks. And then look at some of the updates coming out from like the Pokrovsk direction today, where the Russians were halted in their advance trying to circle around the backside of Pokrovsk. That could possibly indicate that as well, that the Russians are just not launching as many attacks. And we know Ukraine right now is heavily controlling the battlefield with drones. Okay, so very big news coming out today from this update, and today's date being February 26, 2025. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in today. If you got something out of this update, please smash that like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. With that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.